Are you ready for this? Are you ready for season 2 of Death Radio? Season 2, we're bringing in the big guns, bringing him back, Brent, B. Rent. You ready? Welcome back to another season of Desperate Radio, and with me once again is my good old buddy Brian. So we took a hiatus for a while. I did get busy with my other show, Hello Henderson, which has been going great. But my passion and my love is always going to be agile and the stuff that we talk about and the workplace war stories that we always talk about. Brent and I have been talking for a while. As a matter of fact, Brent, you and I recently, we actually upgraded our certifications lately. We're both used to be Safe Practice Consultant, which is the second highest certification you would get in Safe. We discussed this in length in the previous episodes between us with other friends and colleagues. We know there are some Safe and Agile, I don't want to call them practitioners, fundamentalists, if you will, who just like, oh, you have to do it this way. You have to do it this way. We're not going to name names, but it's the kind of folks that we always try to avoid working with. And the ones that are fundamentalists, they just have the letters next to their name, the titles, but they don't have the actual experience and grit of a transformation and really learning how to upstate it. You and I have been through failed transformations enough for us to know exactly what needs to be done. You get to customize Safe. You get to customize Agile. You're supposed to use Agile as a framework. I go back to what I said last year. Dean Leffingwell said it is almost impossible, and I'm paraphrasing, obviously, that for you to follow everything that the Safe guide or playbook or handbook tells you to do. You can't just implement all the 8 principles or all the 12 principles right out the gate. You have to focus on what actually is needed, and then you can build towards achieving the rest of the 8 principles and the rest of the 12 principles. And we're talking about obviously Safe and Agile principles. So we are talking about Agile and we're talking about us upgrading our certification. We're basically evolving and we're talking about evolution. And that is really the theme of season 2, the evolution, the next phase of Agile. And we have a bunch of episodes lined up. Make sure you check out next week's episode with Azal Vox Gibson. She's someone I interviewed and I've recently partnered up with Cyroot Academy. But we are going to have more folks come and talk about the next evolutionary step of where we are, not just in Agile, but in the workplace itself. So let's talk about that. Let's unpack some of that. Agile was always about adapting to change. So why were you so afraid of AI? If AI is the uncertainty that Agile can adapt to, then you were never really practicing Agile. You were doing what I like to call P.A.I.N, practicing Agile in name.
I think Agile's evolved in its meaning from the day that they wrote the original Agile manifesto. I think that was a team of program managers, developers, engineers, whatever, that were trying to drive more sizable chunks and autonomy and pointing at that, working software over many things. And over the years, Agile has had both positive and negative connotations in the industry, and it's evolved. So to be capable of accepting and adapting to change, I think you're right. That is really the modern view of what Agile is.
So we're
There's
not
still
anti-AI.
resistance.
Let's just clarify. We're not anti-AI. We actually embrace AI.
We've been using AI too.
We've been using AI. As a matter of fact, if anything, it showed us how to leverage AI to help us not just with our jobs, but other roles, whether it be Scrum Master, product owner. I think one of the things that I recognized, and I'm going to get a little nerdy on my side, was that the company that works with Safe, they can help you create a value stream in about 4 minutes instead of spending 2 weeks and an 8-hour workshop and going back and forth. Now you can use some of that time to actually say, hey, we build a value stream in 4 minutes. Now let's put together a plan on how to fix some of those bottlenecks, how we can make you more efficient. So I don't understand how AI is scared when it comes to that. Now, there are probably some people out there, like I read an article the other day that said, oh, the godfather of AI is saying that AI is going to have impact the workforce and everybody's going to 10% or 20% is going to be laid off. And Elon Musk is saying similar things. Okay. All right. Maybe in that sector, but that doesn't mean that we can't evolve. That doesn't mean that those roles cannot evolve. Developers are evolving. Coaches are evolving. Agiles are evolving. Computers are evolving. Why can't we do the same thing with everything that we do?
So what we're doing with AI is streamlining our productivity. And what we ended up coming to was busy as a motion and productive as an outcome.
Mhm.
And so if AI helps you produce outcomes faster and
Yes.
be less busy and more focused, then it's a tool to kind of help with that transition. Utilizing it to make things a lot quicker and more efficient and productive, I think is the right angle that we have to pull on with it. If you're just using it to take over and do your job for you, then it's just like using a Tesla. If you eventually don't grab the steering wheel, then you're going to go off the road. You're going to die.
Yeah. And I touched on that actually in the last season, in the last couple of episodes towards the year, where busy does not mean productive. A lot of people wear busy as a badge of honor, like I'm working hard. No, you're not. You're just not working smart. Let's be realistic. And if AI is going to help you work smarter, AI is going to help you streamline some of your work for you to be more productive and more efficient and get recognized for the hard work that you're doing. So let's take it back a little bit. Let's go back to what Agile was really meant for. It was built for iterations, quick feedback, adoption, empower teams, and focus on the customer and the outcome. Right? Did I miss something?
No, no, I think you got it.
Yeah, and I think in the last, we'll say 10 years or so, it's been hijacked, commercialized, used to make money by producing certifications and training opportunities for people. So it was definitely been commercialized and it's been kind of misused. And I think that's why it has that leaves that bad taste in your mouth when somebody says agile or you hear somebody say agile.
I can remember when McDonald's and Burger King came out with the what is it, the vegetarian burger or the vegan burger. And it was, I think that it is an imposter syndrome that if you're utilizing AI, that it might taste like beef, it might look like beef, but this is AI beef. But I think that that's what they get freaked out about, right? Like, and I can remember people getting like, I ain't eating that stupid soy garbage. Da, da, da. And frankly, well, look, it was made more proficiently. No animals died for it. I mean, I'm not going to go all vegan on you. I still like beef, but there are a reason, or I think there is a reason to utilize it if it is causing more efficiency and less strain on the market, and it's producing better outcomes in a lot of ways. It's healthier, it's easier to make, it's faster, nothing has to die. There's a lot of, attributes to that. AI is kind of the same thing. Like if I can produce, and I think we'll get into this of where we can use AI in our some of our flow. But if I can help refine my backlogs in a much more quicker or in an efficient manner, and we've been utilizing it for that. I was going through a backlog not too long ago, and there was a lot of repetitiveness. There were some duplications. There was some spelling errors. There was some format issues of, as AI want in the story modes. There was all kinds of different things. But I was able to take AI and go, look for these things through what we call ragging and show me where they are. And what AI can do really fast is look at the whole battlefield and know what every single soldier is doing at that second.
Yep.
Whereas you have no capability whatsoever to be able to look to that layer that quickly. It would take you days to go through this 1,000-line backlog, but it can show me the top, I think it was like 50 things that were missing within seconds. Why wouldn't I use it for that?
Imagine you're a product owner right now or a product manager, and you have a backlog that you have to go through to identify duplicates, defects, bugs, actual stories, where they align to. Wouldn't it be better if you have AI just go through all that and at the very least remove the duplicates and tell you these are duplicates
Or dependencies?
or dependencies? You just see yourself what? Maybe 2-3 hours. Now, AI will do that for you. What AI won't do for you is the strategy. You as the product owner or the product manager, you're the strategist behind the product. You are the visionary for the product. You are supposed to deliver the vision of the product, not AI. Again, AI is a tool. So we'll get into that later. But I do want to go back to where did Agile drift, right? When stand-ups became status meetings, retros become just routine and nothing. That's the biggest misconception, by the way, of having a retro, is that people get together, talk about what went wrong
And
and how
just
to fix
bitch.
it, and nothing comes out of it.
Mhm.
It's just a status quo. It's just another meeting on somebody else's calendar. Just for
Yeah.
them, Scrum Masters become coordinators and task masters, aka traditional project managers. I don't have any problems with project management. I believe that being a Scrum Master is not a project manager. That's another episode we're going to talk about. And I believe lately, in the last few years, Scrum Masters have been pushed to become more project managers by the organization that they work for. But we're going to get into that later.
I've actually been thinking about this quite a bit in the sense of streamlining my own calendar. And I'm involved with a bunch of different teams. And I was finding that I was plugging a lot of holes all the time. I would be dive in support, fill in Scrum Master for, you know, 3 different programs at any given time. I get pulled into a bunch of things. And I think that the intention of the cadence of your calendar isn't to put a bunch of crap on your calendar. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's to streamline communication. That's really the end goal that you're trying to do. And I found that I wasn't very efficient in my own calendar. And then the ultimate thing, I was doing a root cause analysis of my own self of why is this happening? Why am I missing this to go plug that? And why am I missing this to go plug that? And then what I finally came down to was that if a meeting isn't coming to a decision point with an outcome, then it's a useless meeting and it doesn't belong on my calendar.
Yeah. Or if somebody just gets on a meeting just to sound off and unload on someone or unload their
We need to
project.
come to a decision and produce an outcome.
Yes.
And there was a lot of sessions that I was finding that we'd high five something, nothing was followed through, and there was no productivity as a result of it. So to the cadence of Agile, the intention of those sessions is really a starting point. I think that they're designed to make sure that there is regular communication between the team. But if that method isn't working, we're Agile, right? If that method isn't causing the team to actually communicate, and there's better ways to do that, I don't think Agile is saying that you should follow these strictly exactly this way. But what they are doing is giving you a baseline of what is going to help you streamline communication. Now, there's also some of the more evangelists that are saying, yeah, that's great. No other meetings whatsoever. We just do these. And if you can't get these communications, I don't believe in that either. I don't think that I need to wait till the end of the week for a backlog refinement session to solve a backlog item that could be solved in a few moments. So I pick up the phone, and I certainly reach out. Now, does that violate the cadence? Sometimes, but also I think that you just have to look at what your calendar looks like and evaluate whether they're actually producing anything, and if you're actually producing value. And if they are, keep them. If they're not, you need to actually get some work done, because then you got to start balancing how much work am I actually doing versus how many times am I just sitting here talking about it.
I think that's where Agile coaching comes in. Personal opinion, Agile coaching, about 10 years ago, it had a presence to it, a weight that came behind it. I am not sure if that is the same in today's world. I do believe the new trend is now becoming a coach in something. And I think it's great that there's folks out there who, whether they're a marketing coach, an AI coach, a life coach, and real estate coach, I think that's great if they're true coaches. I think
Yeah, but do you think that there's that old saying, those that can't do teach? I don't
we're
like
not
just
teaching.
people that come in and give me all their advice.
I think that's the difference. We're not teaching. We're actually helping folks because there's a trainer.
Well, that to me is a true coach. That's somebody that's dive-in support, that's able to do some tell-do methods, to be like, hey, here you go. This is how I would do it. Here, let me let you show you. That's a real coach to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me set the blueprint for you how to grow. I'm going to teach you the fundamentals and the basics. I'll even help you do it for you to actually grow. A perfect example of that is I had a conversation not too long ago with someone where they were talking about wanting some training or wanting a workshop. And my response to that was, what do you want to do with that information once you get it? Do you just want to have awareness? Because you can Google something and you'll get what you want out of that.
Oh, yeah, the people that just go after certifications all day long and they'll never use it. And like, well, are you wasting my time too?
Because anybody that just gives a class and you get a certification out of it and they call themselves a coach, to me, that's not a coach, right? So if I have a class of 10 people, let's say Scrum Masters, and they get certified by the end of the class, and I stop right there, that does not make me a coach. What are you doing next? What's your next plan? Let me set the blueprint for you how to grow. I'm going to teach you the fundamentals and the basics. I'll even help you do it for you to actually grow. A perfect example of that is I had a conversation not too long ago with someone where they were talking about wanting some training or wanting a workshop. And my response to that was, what do you want to do with that information once you get it? Do you just want to have awareness? Because you can Google something and you'll get what you want out of that.
Yeah, I
Go
think that's the
forward.
difference between a coach and a presenter, right? Like anybody can
Absolutely.
go up there and
Or
just
just a
present the
trainer, or
slides that
just a
Safe
random
gave me.
trainer and
Yeah. If I
instructor.
can't utilize them in real context and show you how to utilize that in real context, then I'm not a coach. I'm just a presenter. I'm presenting
Exactly.
slides that were handed to me at that point.
Exactly. So the title doesn't equal authority now, right?
Who do you think you're talking to? I have authority.
Well, I think it goes back to what we were saying also last year is that you don't need titles to be a leader.
No.
You don't need the title of a lead or a leader for you to step into a leadership mentality and role. That doesn't often mean that you have to manage people or you bark orders at people. Not only do you have to lead, but you have to lead by example.
Yeah.
Meaning, and we're gonna get into this later in the season. Nobody is spared this time around.
No,
Nobody's
until you
spared.
establish that trust and follow through, they're still not gonna follow you. It wouldn't matter what your title says. And we ran into that multitudes of times where we would dive into a situation. We were gonna do some type of a transformation in a certain area. And I do remember that particular leader basically just hammering on us. He did not trust us. He did not believe in this stuff. But you have to, it doesn't matter what your title is until that you actually follow through and produce something for them. There's going to be resistance regardless of title.
Does not equal authority, impact, or credibility, right? When titles multiply faster than actual impact, it just gets diluted. It loses its weight.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. So I feel like if you're going to be a coach of something, please know that it's a path for you to get there. A basketball coach, an army sergeant, a drill instructor, they don't become where they are at because they took a weekend course. They had to earn the stripes on their uniform for them to be where they are today.
Unless you work for the Raiders, then I don't know what's going on over there, but
Hey, I live in Nevada.
I know where you live. Hello Henderson watches this, so boo Raiders.
All right. Talked about AI helping product owners generate user stories, go through the backlog. We talked about how you used it to clean up your backlog and your Outlook. We talked about how it can help with actually conducting a value stream mapping in about 4 minutes. Use AI for portfolio management and lean portfolio management. And even if you set the parameters, let's use portfolio management. I think that's a really good one. If you set the parameters for your AI to say, this is my infrastructure work, this is my innovation work, this is my whatever bucket that I want my work to be in, not only does your portfolio get categorized correctly, AI will do its best to categorize correctly. But remember, AI still does make mistakes, which you'll still need a human to take a look at and say, that doesn't belong there. It will then align all the features, the stories, the work, the defects, the bugs, everything else to be in that same streamline.
Yeah, and we used to hire, we still do, and I'm not going to put them out of a job or anything like that, but scientists to do a lot of data analytics, and AI is really good at that. And I would challenge anybody that's listening to this. I've been really looking for a plugin to Jira that utilizes AI. And the reason for that is because there's a lot of analytics that are coming out of Jira. There's dashboards that you can build, and then depending on if you have Jira Line or Jira, whatever. But I feel like AI could customize things really quickly based on all that information. If that entire backlog is API to Jira and has access to it from, a push-pull perspective, I want to play with that tool. So if there's anybody that's done that, I would love to see that in the comments because, and by the way, we work a lot in the government. So we've been scratching our head looking at how we can do that. but I'd love to see some real world examples. But as a Scrum Master or as an RTE or whatever, I really want to know where my tendencies are. What is my, my burn rate? What is my cycle times? What is my, and yes, we can get those, we can pull those out from a dashboard perspective, but I think that AI would be able to really look into some holes that perhaps weren't linked in regular Jira.
I am so glad you brought that up because AI can pull the information for you. You are the person that's going to determine what to do with that information.
Sure.
That's what AI is for.
Yeah.
It's going to help you
Yeah, be
catch what
careful
you
with
didn't
that.
catch with your own eyes or your own skills or your own background or your own
Yeah.
data analytics. But you are the person that will determine what to do with that information, how to fix it going forward. If agile is mechanical to you, if your value is ceremony management, and if your role is operational overhead, then yes, AI is coming for your job.
I did an exercise. I had an old backlog and I dropped it in there as my RAG. And I was just playing with this concept because I was
Can you stop for a second?
exploring.
Can you
Huh?
explain to people RAG?
So RAG is retrieval augmented generation. We call it RAG. Basically, the idea is that you're giving it all the parameters and the data that it needs. And so for that example, I was taking an entire backlog of items and just trying to understand all the angles of this and being able to ask AI, who has all that information at its fingertips, what am I trying to build? What is my value stream? What is some of the parameters that I may have missed? Where is the technology lacking? I could ask it anything and it was pretty efficient, but you have to actually read it. But being able to have that at your fingertips to see, well, what kind of defects do you think that I'm going to run into? What kind of things, like it gives you some insight that I don't believe we have. Because I don't know about you guys that are out there, but when I look at a massive backlog, I just see hundreds of lines of stuff. Jira ticket
It's overwhelming.
5732 as AI want whatever, da da da
It's
da.
overwhelming.
It's incredibly, and I can bite off these little pieces, but I could feed the whole elephant to AI and go, show me the toe.
Right.
And it's great for that.
Yeah. So I think you and I were brought in when we worked together a lot of times to basically expose what's broken and how to fix it.
Sure.
AI doesn't replace agile. It exposes the
Mm.
weakness.
Yeah. And it gives you a better perspective and lens.
Right. So this is not a collapse. AI is not
No.
a collapse. If your job is to just status quo, run meetings, write 100 stories a day, and put it in the backlog and just give it a number, yes, AI will replace you.
It should be making you better, faster, stronger. AI should be a steroid.
You can fix that as a product owner, as a Scrum Master, as an RTE, as an Agile coach, as a leader, as a portfolio manager. Agile will help you and AI will empower you to even practice Agile better. Whatever you've been complaining about for the last 10 years that Agile doesn't work for us, Agile is not that good. Believe me when I tell you, AI will show you how Agile is meant to be because we got to bring Agile back. I have a service called Agile Recovery. And we basically, let's take it back to the basics. Let's focus on what's right. And having AI fixes that. Having AI empowers that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good time to call on Frankie and see what he thinks.
He's on the bench today.
He's
been kind of getting on my nerves lately.
Having AI that I don't use over here.
And there's a couple of episodes that I did with just me and Frankie. And I remember giving him specific instructions. And I said, hey, do me a favor. When we have a conversation back and forth, stop using absolutely so often. I don't know. It just was bothering me. And then I had an outtake at the end of the episode where it counted. Yeah, I think he said absolutely 20 times after I told it, stop using absolutely. So to recap, AI and Agile, it's not a collapse. It's a maturity test.
I mean, that's our perspective.
Yeah.
Certainly
Every major
argue with
shift
us.
recalibration.
I'd
And I
love
think
to
we're in
have
the
that conversation.
recalibration phase right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm so curious where it's going to go, right?
Right.
Like it's evolving incredibly fast and markets are rising and collapsing around AI right now. Now, a lot of people think that it's going to be a lot like the DOS days or the .com days, I'm sorry, where it just collapses and nobody cares. But I don't see AI going away.
No,
I
it's
think
not going away. but it's not the big scary monster that everybody thought it is, at least not for the foreseeable future.
Too many people watch Terminator too many times.
And I think a lot of people are listening to the folks out there that are basically AI evangelists who are saying AI is going to take over everything and you're not going to. Of course they have to say that because that's their life. That's where they make their money. So
Yeah.
they rap out of it.
Too many people watch Terminator, but the minute there is a robot that opens this door and asks me how I'm feeling and I don't look good, and then starts coming after me, I'm going to change my opinion really quickly because AI we're seeing these robots run around and act nuts right now. But from a software perspective, I think that it's a tool. And as long as it's a tool to us, I know we're going to get into some interesting angles there, as I've seen a lot of these movies.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's why people are freaked out by it.
I think from a work perspective, this is probably getting a little too personal now. With everything that's happening in the world, whether it's politically, financially, economically, I think it's certain you start hearing some other headlines. Let's just be real for a second because we're about to wrap up. Agile has reinvented itself before. It can do it again. It has done it so many times before, and the professionals who evolve with it will survive, and they will evolve, and they will thrive. My closing statement on this is that framework evolution is an opportunity. It's not a doomsday device that's coming your way.
No, and I think it's just another tool. People used to run everything out of spreadsheets and whiteboards on the wall. And then somebody, invented some ALM tools that made things a little bit more efficient. It still applies to Agile. We utilize it every day. AI is at the cusp. And I don't know if we quite figured out all the ways we're going to use it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that comes down to really this audience and everybody that's out there and how creative you can be with something as intelligent as AI.
Yeah, very well said. Brent, what are you looking forward to on this season of Dead Sprint Radio?
We're going to make this more and more entertaining. I know going to a podcast or a YouTube podcast or whatever and listening to Agile might not be for everybody, but for somebody out there, I think that it's going to be incredibly valuable to them. Now, that said, we're going to dive around a multitude of different topics. So I would love to see Dead Sprint Radio really helping partner up with a lot of the industry experts as far as, and look, we're not evangelists, but we're agilists. We love to do things very efficiently. And so for me personally, I'd like to see Dead Sprint Radio grow. I'd like to see, by the way, and we've said this about a lot of things, Dead Sprint Radio is for all of you guys that are out there. It's not just Brendan Haas. We would welcome you to come onto the show and talk about all of the things that you're running into in the industry. And we've had a bunch of guest speakers previously. We'll continue to have some more this year. I'd love to learn from everybody in our audience. And so we wanted to create a platform where we can just sit here and nerd out and talk about these things that are coming up in the industry. And maybe they relate to you, maybe they don't. And certainly maybe there's some things that you're seeing out there that we're not seeing. I'd love to get into those conversations because I think united as a whole, as agilists, if you will, we are stronger. And I think we are the future of what this industry is going to be. So we welcome those conversations. And that's what I'd hope Dead Sprint Radio has the opportunity to provide.
Couldn't have said it any better myself. And as far as partnerships, Dead Sprint Radio is recently partnered up with Cyroot Academy to teach safe classes to military services who are trying to transition from military to the private sector, and vets who are looking to elevate their career and go into the private sector. And it's all done through sponsorship programs. Check out deadsprintradio.com for more information. Check out cyrootacademy.org for more information on that, or comment below, ask me about it, and I will forward that information to you. Like Brent said, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with somebody. And if you want to be on the show, let us know. Comment below. Tell us what you want us to talk about. Tell us what you want to come and talk about. Thank you so much for listening. Brent, welcome back. It's really good to see you again, my friend.
See you again in a couple months, Haas.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening once again. This is Haas, and this is Dead Sprint Radio. We're live. We're not live. We're recording.
Did you see me sneeze?
I'm going to stop recording.
I was trying so hard to hold it in. My eyes were watering.
You're just going to sit there like a statue. Please tell me you didn't freeze. It's just not used to you yet. It's shy. It's been a while. Oh my God. We got a cold open. Welcome back, friends.